Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting and other wondrous Propagandacast from your host, ImperialDane. We're off here to a 1 vs 1 on the Stalingrad map with Mackie here fighting for Germany for the 7th Panzer Division, going up against ImperialDane fighting here for the Soviet Union. And the 50th Rifle Corps tasked with clearing out some urban ruins in some larger Russian city. Was wanted a larger Russian city. Then he got one pioneer start. Infantry company up, going straight towards here. Communist, lots of conscripts on the way. Alternating Partisan tactics, counter-attack tactics, Lend-Lease tactics here for the Soviets. For Mackie, it's festering armor, Jaeger infantry, and spearhead doctrine. Got back to ImperialDane. His men creeping through the ruins. There's our note. Popping out. Note he's actually not even going for the connecting points, he's going straight towards it. Looks like the munitions points, so it would seem that Mackie has some kind of plan involving some early munitions. And what is this? Second unit already arriving here, 2 grenadiers. Zwei Grenadiere. With a third country quarter on the way as well. Rather heavy right hand focus so far. Not that there's anything wrong in that at all. And meanwhile, I'm spreading out. Generally, what I prefer to do is the Soviets sort of try and cross a large amount of terrain, try to sort of figure out where my opponent sort of position his men, what sort of capping order does he have, and usually that way you can also figure out, well, if he's not got nothing here, I might be able to sneak in the squad, then sort of hit him from the side. I mean, there's some thoughts there in terms of reconnaissance. But heading straight towards the centre next. So far, no sign of him in the fuel point. He's not made any efforts towards that. The comms being engaged by grenadiers. Going up behind the long wall there. And firing away there gloriously. My conscripts sneaking in there. We've seen pioneers holding up there. And we are noting a second pioneer squad. Interesting move there. Interesting unit choice there. Next engagement up here. Conscripts coming in. Being engaged by several sides. Quick Molotov there, having researched after the third conscript. In a map like this, Molotovs can have its advantages due to the close quarters of things. Grenadier taking some losses. Ultimately, the conscripts are pushed away pretty heavy losses themselves. The pioneers and grenadiers doing quite a bit of work there. Meanwhile, over here, comets continue to hold up. Gloriously, another conscript sneaking in there, trying to get them from the side. Fuel point there, both fuel points in fact now. Soviet, he's going straight for the second munitions point. At the same time, sneaking up here, having to flank the grenadiers. The communists having not done too well here versus the grenadiers, and ultimately are pushed away. More constant driving, other troops reinforcing. We're noting a third grenadier squad here for Mackie. Both pioneer squads converting here, and there go Molotov to try and deny them cover, forcing them out in the open, making them easy targets here for the conscripts, but bit late there, small punishment from another side there. Mackie nicely surrounding my conscripts, forcing them away. Up here, conscripts flanking on the grenadiers, trying to hunt them down, trying to sort of deny them getting the fuel points. I mean, if you can as possible, you know, try to deny your opponent as much fuel as possible. Of course, get as much fuel as you can early on. In this case, that seems to be going alright so far. Getting more than twice as much fuel, and also having more than twice as much fuel. And there you go, finally making a move towards there. Not much I can do to sort of prevent that from happening. But still doing a bit of damage here, forcing them back here and there. Setting up a special rifle command.
Engineer standing by.
The new men have arrived.
Partly due to an interest in quickly attacking up, thus and not expending a lot of fuel on a first-tier building, but at the same time also because some penal ships could prove to be valuable with our flamethrowers and semi-automatic rifles in the ruins. Man engaging a little bit out in the open. Counter's trying to flee in, trying to basically move up here and catch them with a Molotov, but seems like he's already spotting and reacting a bit. Pioneers having quick flamethrowers, of course, could be a reason why he went for those munitions points, because he wanted some flamethrowers for the Pioneers, finally getting a fuel point over there. Trying to get up here, Molotovs going off left and right. Trying to deny my opponent cover, and of course try to kill him a bit. Another conscript moving in from the north. And the pioneers are doing what they can in close quarters. And there you go, counter-attack tactics has been chosen. Taking some shock troopers would be also quite good in these urban environments. In the close proximity to things. Another Molotov off there. 4 Grenadier squads, 2 Pioneer squads, quite the size of winter force here for Mackie. Could it be he's intending to go Jaeger infantry and get some Gewehr fleets, which could also be reasonably well used on this map.
Yes, comrade.
Doing a bit of damage here, but ultimately taking a lot as well. Shock troopers having arrived with SVT-40, smoke grenades, high explosive fragmentation grenades, and other fun things, including body armor.
Red Army at your service.
Enemy forces are neutralizing.
Planning to sort of sneak them up through here, try and sort of stay sort of out of open areas, or at least areas where he's going to have a sort of shot at them before they get close, and that way hopefully get close to him without him initially noticing, and then getting able to sort of get the full effect out of the submachine guns, because they're pretty much only good up close. Always good to remember that. Holding up there. There we go. Pioneers being spotted here by the shock troopers. Taking quite a bit of damage. And barely making out of their grenadiers, doing what they can to cover the retreat of their Kameraden. But they also take quite a bit of a flashing right there from the shock troopers.
Awaiting orders.
And we see a larger force sneaking about here. Mackie clamping up a lot of his infantry right there.
Contact.
Carter's moving down here. He realises what's going on here, pulls back, realising he might be in a bit of a bad situation, runs straight into all of these rifles. And of course notice what's going on here and try to sneak up behind here with my shock troops cutting off the retreat path. And who knows what else. And right here we see Mackie clumping up rather awfully much here, which I decide is a great spot for an grenade. And there we go. Massive losses right there. Shock troops coming in for the kill, but sadly can't seem to quite finish off any of the heavily wounded remainders. Much to my annoyance. Though of course had I been able to wipe them all up, that would have already here been GG. Another gun squad here retreating, and this one sadly does not have the luck of the guards with him and ends up dead instead. So here's some rather vicious infantry action so far. No vehicles or anything like that. Oh, we do note I like to make a nice company up here for Mackie. Troops are reinforcing, Pioneers shifting out again. I mean, both Pioneer squads upgrade with the flamethrowers. It's really home to sort of get an advantage in the close urban quarters. Another grenade here, a granate. And gaining veteran 2. In this case, I get a bit lucky here. As my veteran 2 shock to his man to escape the wrath of the enemy. Doing west to regain territory. No sign of anything from here.
Area secured. Shoot back, comrades!
Mackie's Pioneers trying to cross through the streets, but not quite having any luck with that. Country's moving up close, trying to pop off a Molotov, force them out of their cover. Well, another minor engagement happens up here, the guns getting put back. Mackie's certainly having a bit of trouble holding up territory. With another Pioneer squad assaulting it. Very close, in fact, to Veterancy 2, which would definitely make them more lethal. But looks like this round they might get overwhelmed there by the conscripts. And there we go, Mittler Schützenpanzerwagen here arrives for Mackie. Allows his troops to reinforce the front line, also light machine gun up here. Barrels exploding. And there you go, the Pioneers will force away, but not before gaining Veterancy 2. Conscripts have to pull back. The fight with the Grenadiers and the half-tech proving to be too much. The Grenadiers being able to constantly reinforce it ensures they will pretty much always have the advantage, in particular with the half-tech also providing machine gun support. Of course it will need some repairs, but again with some Pioneers already looking reasonably well. In particular Veteran 2, that should be able to be sorted rather swiftly. Moving up here again, another Molotov. Lots of Molotovs in these ruins. Again, the close quarters really allow for more Molotovs to sort of get close and get off on the enemy, and then say another more open map like Langraskaya, for example. Certain, of course, weapons, troops and all that have great effects on different maps. And certainly this is a map where close quarters troops really excel. And the longer range troops certainly, I mean they can fight, but it's definitely going to be confined to sort of more specific areas, and will certainly also require a lot more preparation to sort of try and minimize the effect of troops getting up close, like barbed wire mines and whatnot. But there we go. Note again, he's keeping the half track close, he's keeping his troops close to the half track as well, having a nice little combined arms effort there. Not bad. After, of course, being there to support the infantry. providing support. Of course, in this case, allowing his troops to keep fighting at the front line, ensuring he doesn't have to retreat, thus ensuring he doesn't have to give ground, instead forcing me to give ground and fall back. So real good thinking there. Tank over tank command up. And popping over here to Mackie. With 3 Grenadiers, 2 Pioneers, 1 Grenadier squad was lost, of course. Shock troopers doing what they can here, veteran into and thus more lethal. But Sony's keeping up the pressure. More Molotovs, and actually everybody runs into the Molotovs there. Good lord. Not good there, Heinz. More troops hiding here. Shock troops trying to close in the Pioneers, but some of the Pioneers instead end up pulling back due to the Pioneers simply being too much. Troops here fine, but again, just constantly reinforcing from the half-track. The half-track itself also getting plenty of kills here in this kind of situation, doing quite well. And again, overall, this proving to be quite the nice formation. Again, also proving, you know, why having a half-track can actually be a good thing. Under the right circumstances, of course. I mean, supporting an infantry force, it can be quite powerful. I mean, there's a lot of people just like to have them back, but I mean, supporting your infantry can actually give you a bit of an advantage in the fight, not just because of the enforcers, but also because it's got machine guns that can actually do something this time around. Telemine's up here. A good spot for a Telemine, by the way. He certainly must be expecting an armoured rush, since again he knows he has been holding the field quite as much as I have. T-70 moving in here, engaging the Pioneers, forcing those away. Veering off here. And basically trying to sort of regain the viewpoint over here as well. Though of course staying at range here, don't want to risk getting Panzerfaust. I don't know what else he has. And certainly a Panzerschreck or 2 coming out of nowhere could definitely prove a bit of an issue here for my T-70. Or for that matter, a Panzerabwehrkanone. On the other hand, the gun is actually a bit of a sticky situation. They've got the viewpoint, but they can't pull back. If they try to retreat, they're very likely to actually get cut down, in particular now they don't have 2 men. In fact, it was a bit late there. And now we've got shock troops arriving as well. And there we go, Grenadier squad down. Although it got one of the shock troops. Good job there, Boris. We'll just say he was a traitor. But fighting up here nicely. Note he's actually using his Panzer Grenadiers at medium range, which, well, longer to medium range, and the same also all right there. I mean, he's not going to move in. There we go. T-70 hits the Telemine. A tragic loss there. Panzers actually end up taking quite a few losses, though, against the fact they weren't quite in full in cover. But there we go, pulling up. Half checking up between forces as well, provide support. Panzer Grenadiers are almost wiped out. Counter squad should have flanked around here, but trying to move up here. Popping off a Molotov. Forcing the Grenadiers and Panzer Grenadiers back out into the open, making them easier targets. And here, making the mistake, actually close in, hoping to get the half-check, but of course, at the same time, make my troops an easier target here for the Panzers and the Grenadiers. In particular, the Panzer Grenadiers right there, of course, moving into medium range of them, really allows them to excel. I mean, one should not underestimate the Panzer Grenadier. Alternating command tanks are available for Mackie now to a certain extent, though he doesn't seem to be going for them. Instead, he's in fact teching up. He should also consider maybe having one of his troops use the field aid or first aid kit there on the Panzer Grenadiers, ensuring they don't have to retreat either that way. Another fresh Telemine going up here. Good job there from Mackie, keeping up with the Telemines. He could also consider some S-mines around some more vital junctions as well to sort of catch my infantry. Shifting troops forwards.
How can we help?
Sagan's shock trooper squad out here, hoping to clear up the fascists. And another T-70 there arriving, hopefully with less chance of hitting a Telemine, or at least I'll be more careful. There you go, getting caught up with Grenadiers and the Pioneers. Shock troops are ultimately forced away, not in a good condition. Still no hidden for these Panzers, and that could prove to be a bit of an issue for him. Shock troopers here flanking in through the ruins, hoping again to get behind the troops, catch them there. Panzers at the same time again, due to having not sufficient healing, are easy targets. There we go, swiftly swept away by the shock troopers. Again, Mackie should have healed them or pulled them back before healing there, I think. But a large advance going in here. Grenades going off, we're seeing a full retreat there. Half-check force to pull away, although close to victory 2 and with 7 kills. Also noting, testing armor by the way. Minesweepers this time actually keeping pace, spotting the telemines there, although note on the map they're actually pretty hard to see even when cleared out. But of course, knowing he's probably laid down one, he's probably going to lay down one. Of course, he wanted to ensure I don't lose another T-70 like that. And there you go, Pioneer Squad wiped out. Flamethrower rapidly secured, ensuring these shock troops are even further lethal.
We are ready.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
But right now, Mackie's situation is not very good. Setting up a support armor core here. He might be aiming for some kind of Stug or Ostwind, or maybe in a Panzer IV. Most of the map is Soviet.
We have a full squad.
Still, he keeps on fighting. And there we go, Ostwind flak Panzer there, of course, now cheaper and thus a bit more accessible. Half-track in dire need of repairs. He could even consider upgrading it with some flame projectors to get more out of them, but he definitely should repair them, getting back in the fight. Laying down some mines on my own to prevent any kind of armor rations. That is currently what I would be vulnerable to, even an Austrian flak panzer. So a few mines would certainly buy me a bit more time. Trucks are getting caught up by a lot of grenadiers. Losses rather heavy. And there you go, getting about to repairing. No sign of the flamethrower though. T-70 here trying his best to stay at range, ensuring he doesn't get Panzer Faust and caught up in something. Victory pins being secured, and there you go, the flak Panzer arrives. The flak Panzer arrives. Can it turn the tide? With another Panzer Grenadier squad here on the way, Mackie certainly seems to be fond of those.
We've learned something useful today. Standing by.
Shock troops are on, there you go, the flak Panzer moves up. Got very little track to stop it. There's advancing up here, they could hit the mine though. There you go, almost the entire squad gets wiped out. Railway cannon also available. And there you go, in fact, forced to pull away here from the flak Panzer. Proving to be quite strong here with nothing to really oppose it. Of course, he also knows when the mine's about, he probably needs to be a bit careful so he doesn't hit them either. Gaining a pack now. Not a bad thought.
Pioneers ready for anything. What hit him now that we have MG42s?
A bit of cautious creeping around here amidst the ruined housing. And there you go, Pioneers lose the flamethrower tank and lose one comrade in the process.
Yes?
And note he's actually using infantry awareness to try and spot out any infantry that might sneak up on him. Large assault going in here, and immediately the flak Panzer opens up, locking that down. Using the Gunner Canny against the half-track, taking down to half health. Almost knocking it out. But the flak Panzer saves the day, providing also as a nice bulwark there against the T-70. But K1 here arriving, part of the counter-attack. Doctrine the Clement Original. One of the earlier Soviet heavy tanks which actually saw action throughout the war compared to the other one, which was the T-28, which was also a bit more of a peculiar heavy tank. Trying to get that Ostwind. KV-1 misses though. Infantry taking a nice loss there from the flak Panzer. Mackie playing alright there with it, ensuring he sort of tries to stay at max range. And there you go, Pat covering it, ensuring the K1 cannot pursue. In fact, forcing the K1 back with some pretty heavy damage. And noting he's actually keeping the flak Panzer close, ensuring I can't just clear up the Pat quite easily either. So some good thinking there. Good tactics. Guys moving up the streets here, but coming under heavy fire, forced to stop. K1 already here needing heavy repairs. And getting Panzerx as well to try and help there with the KV-1 and the other tanks. Again, trying to get the Pack 40 here. Primary target, if he can get rid of that, and my K1 can easily move in and clear out the Austrian, for example. But until then, I mean, as long as he keeps those two together, I actually have a bit of a problem. Which of course is how Mackie wants it. They're fighting here for the victory point, trying to regain them, trying to hold them, trying to drain him.
Standing by.
Half-track though once more heavily damaged. And he needed repairs, although very close to actually too. More engineers arriving, repairing the KB-1. And getting a bit of air reconnaissance to try and spot out what my opponent is doing. Let's roll the back 40. And there's a band stop there. Shock is ambushing the Panzer Grenadiers. Bit of flamethrower action there. Bomb grenade goes off but doesn't do much. Just forcing up to cover up things here as they're going to smash straight for the fuel point. I mean, Mackie is desperately wanting to get some fuel. I do believe it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation here, Mackie is a bit on the back foot, but at the same time he is holding up reasonably well. He's still getting more troops. He's also doing some damage to me, and with the Flak Panzer and the pack combo, he's actually able to cause me a bit of harm, in particular considering the sort of terrain there. It's actually a bit harder for me to sort of properly flank in particular now with the Panzers as well. So I have a bit of an issue here with this little force here, and of course he's pressuring on, but at the same time I do hold most of the map so I can get more fuel, and I also have more ground to give off, plus of course I also have the victory point advantage. I mean, it's hardly all doom and gloom for me, but certainly not for him either. For him though, some more armor might be an addition, and he might want a Stug or something that could provide a bit more mobile threat here to the K1 force that further back, same with the T-70. At the same time though, he needs to sort of more properly secure himself to center himself around one victory point. A bit of his problem so far is that he's not really had much of a defense, he's not really had much of a strong point, which also means he's quickly going to lose it because he then proceeds to split up with no real sort of core anywhere on the map. So I would imagine he should sort of initially try and establish him around this point and then sort of move from here towards here and then sort of sweeping towards there, gaining the victory points and the other fuel points. And that way, rather than sort of trying to harass me and out-harass me, but at the same time that also renders troops rather vulnerable. In particular with the shock troops, we can easily lock down this kind of harassment. In particular on this map, they can quickly move up and force them away or wipe out a squad. There's a few problems there then for them. And again, you should consider just sort of a more slow approach, slowly taking away territory from me and of course draining me out that way. Otherwise he does risk losing too much and not gaining enough in the process, I would argue. Of course with more Panzer guns away, that of course also do it well. And of course he could consider some S-mines here and there to sort of hamper and eliminate my infantry. That would definitely also do him quite well. And as for his command, I mean a Pack 43 could eventually be an idea, and it would also provide quite a threat to my armor if placed correctly, though then again he's probably knowing I've gone counterattack tactics, in which case a B4 is likely, and of course I mean that might, you know, put the question of a Pack 43 out the window. A command tank might also eventually be an idea that would certainly also help punishing my infantry, and that really should be one of his main priorities, punishing my infantry, perhaps throwing them into ambushes and then clearing them out, thus ensuring there's very little to support my tanks, which are definitely dependent on infantry here in these close quarters. From my perspective, again, I want to clear this out, and again, some artillery, in fact, would be an idea. B4 would be a nice thing to sort of clear, for example, out that Pack 40, maybe get some other units. In the process, mines here and there would also do quite well, particularly since he's got no minesweepers. He could limit his Ostwind from doing anything, of course, kill some more infantry. Some more mines would be a good thing. Otherwise, another K1 eventually would also be an idea. Getting K1s, not on the tanks, because, well, with a thicker arm and more health, and overall considering this sort of environment, they are do a bit better. They only cost a bit more than T-34, but at the same time, on this map, speed is less of the essence, durability is more, you know, valuable, in which case the K1 does possess more advantage than the T-34, since again, the armor and the more health will be a bit better on the map, I think. So back to the fight here. Shock Troops trying to get some troops, so there we go. Flak Panzer one from arriving, sending them running, scared. Flak Panzer doing what it can to provide air coverage, anti-air coverage. And there we go, Grenadiers forced away rather rapidly. And the aircraft crashing down here at the edge of the map, rather explosively. Mackie setting off here for a small advance towards the right hand side, at the same time the Flak Panzer moves in trying to sort of harass me and preventing the fuel point. Pioneers leading the advantage against the conscript. The conscript's already depleted though, we'll end up losing possibly. And there you go, the Panzer's actually got the T-70, nicely done there, though rather risky the way he did it.
for reconnaissance. Bit by bit, we take.
There goes successfully pushing towards the right-hand victory point. At the same time, one has to note he is spreading out a bit. And a quick anti-tank grenade there connects with the rear engine of the Black Panther K1 trying to pursue. And there we go, B4 howitzer is up.
We are targets.
And going to try and clear out the infantry here with my conscripts out the building. And what is this? Stug arriving here for Mackie. K1 having taken quite a bit of a detour though to arrive here, but unfortunate. Black Panther taking a nice route here, and the B4 hit pretty much nothing, much too much aggro, although it seems to have convinced him to get the devil out of there. Conscripts rushing away, barely making it. There we go, K1 finally catches up here with the Ostwind. Pack 40 Grenadiers and Panthers moving up. Black Panther almost going down, but there you go, the Grenadiers for the Panther Faust, and of course knowing that's probably going to be Pack on the way, I need to quickly get out before I risk losing the KB1.
Squad, what do you need?
Troops reinforcing. Forces shifting about, and there you go, Veterans C3 Pioneers, they should be able to get that K or Ostwind there back into the fight reasonably fast.
Enemy forces are capturing our
And
supplies.
additional Pioneers on the way, that is good. Stug here with already the Pilsband machine gun up. And now he does seem to sort of focusing more around the right hand side.
Here standing by.
Good. Even getting the centre, but at the same time that is a bit open. And quickly cleared out. Half tank also on its own, probably should shift it over here to supporting on the left hand side. And there we go, veteran 2 for the half tank increasing mobility, and the area can reinforce in. There you go, Panzer special shock troopers. Panzer guys probably should have been a bit more careful here. And ultimately get pushed away by the more veteran shock troopers with a flamethrower and body armour.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Stug providing coverage here. And there you go, the Ostwind arrives. Again. Veterans 1, and the K1 misses at that range. Good lord. Plenty of force moving into assault here. Perhaps not the wisest of ideas. Then again, the shock troopers might just be weak enough for the Pioneers to pull it off. But there you go, grenade pops off. And conscripts arrive as well, resulting in some pretty heavy losses there on the Pioneers. The shock troopers pulling back.
We are bleeding, comrades! We are taking fire!
Half second it's close, they can hit my anti-tank grenade, but there we go again. A bit more of a solid shift. Background wing Patrick's going off. And certainly Mackie, now that he's sort of more focused, his force is actually presenting a much greater threat. Right here comes up his troops, and I immediately react, sending out the B4 to try and fire away here, hoping to catch it. Already the pack is shifting, so there's a chance here the B4 might miss. Duke McCann with Panther's going to support. And the shot flies too far, just shattering some more ruins. Panther's going to make an advance. Good, good. Things heating up a bit. With Mackie finally having found his footing.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands. Heavy tank here.
Pushing across here the open street, but under fire from the K1. A bit dangerous here with the Grenadiers. They could end up taking some heavy losses. Though so far the K1 seems to be missing a lot. And there you go, second K1 arriving. More heavy armour.
Capture our territory.
Pastor's going here for the munitions. Pack 40 moving up the ruins. Reinforcing, rebuilding.
Ready for deployment, comrade.
K1 or B4 already ready to fight against Stalin's sledgehammer, as it was also known.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
Quite powerful. It was also actually self-propelled, as you might notice here. To a certain, well, self-propelled to a certain extent. And there goes Duke, straight in front of the K1s here, a bit too close, and end up taking a lot of damage. And there you go. B4 finally got a hit there, wiping out the pioneers, but the veteran 3 pioneers by the looks of it, and also doing heavy damage there to the Austrian flak. Panzer K1's pulled back, here's Panzer Strikes and other things go off. Shock troops though closing in. Charging across here, and suddenly I realise I might have a chance here. Charging in against the Pack 40. Lots of German infantry movement as well. Shock troops are getting punished here massively by the Ostwind. Trying to get that Pack 40. I succeed, but I do end up losing the shock troops in the process, which might have not been worth it. Which is the veteran. There we go. Veteran T2 popping smoke. That other shock troop squad also lost. Stuke gaining 6 kills. And all of a sudden I might have given him a bit of advantage. I got a bit too reckless there, thinking I could charge in and get it. The side of the K1 pathing rather meant the timing was a bit off with their support. But there we go, I got the veteran to Ostwind. Denying him one vital asset there. And the Grenadiers are close to getting wiped out. Seems like they escaped to live another day. Duke the mediums up there. Good job there. I mean, at the same time, it is heavily damaged, but still gets the K1. Panzer is moving in. Nasty hits on the K1. The K1 almost down, but the Stuke could also go down. And there we go. Stuke kaput. But in a great stroke of luck for him, he managed to force the K1 to abandon. And I immediately shift my B4 to try and knock it out.
300 points stand between us and defeat.
Now, for some reason, it always seems to do that bit where it sort of takes a bit more time. In fact, this allows him to grab off the K1 and escape. In fact, what happens next is a bit unfortunate as it ends up hitting my own troops. Good job there, comrades. There certainly might be some suspicions there of counter-revolutionary efforts. But at the same time, for Mother Russia, allowing my troops to sprint away and being much more combat effective. Getting the half-track as well, so it's not like, you know, Mackie isn't suffering some losses here, but certainly I suffered quite a bit. Molotov going off, their Panzer being pushed away. Pack 40 being run off with more contracts on there to replace the heavy losses I've suffered.
What do you need? Waiting for your command.
The enemy has 100 points.
And now his only tank he has is a Soviet one. Though the Germans actually did use several KV-1s. I believe they actually even used one they converted to use a Panzer IV gun of the higher range or caliber one. Well, more higher velocity one, I mean.
Units awaiting orders.
Little fun fact there. Point there being secured.
Yes,
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
Lots of pioneers getting to work on that. Of course, he quickly wants that back in the fight.
do you need something?
And E4 firing that, almost firing an entire Grenadier squad right there. A nasty hit. They're holding things up here quite nicely. The veteran Grenadiers really quite nasty. And of course, the downtime on the conscript means they're actually more vulnerable at the moment while I wait for the ability to wear it off. But popping back here to Mackie. Who's now added in another Stuke. Good job there. Another pencil mounted machine gun. Also good. This Panzer gun is also looking alright, though a bit overstretched. But again, he managed to sort of pull off a bit more of a better effort now that he stopped spreading out. And certainly I made some rather big mistakes there. On the other hand, I do have the Pack 40 now. And there go K1 and Stuke, both ready to go into the fight. And there again, for Mother Russia once more appears. Riflegate goes over there, taking out quite a large chunk of Russian infantry. Troops fighting from here as well. Panzermen might then have been in slight trouble. At the same time, this building is ready to collapse. Then he's actually suffering versus the more inspired Russian infantry. I mean, don't underestimate the power of for Mother Russia. I mean, I see a lot of players use counterattacks, but never using it. But I mean, well used for Mother Russia is a very powerful ability. The downtime is nasty, yes, and it does cost ammunition, but again, it really gives you a lot more troops for a brief moment. And that is something that is actually very powerful. Panzer's actually moving out into the open versus troops inspired by the ability and taking some nasty punishment. Stuke here creeping up. B4 fires. misses, although it does damage a bit the Stu. K1 moving in. And Panzer getting over here by the K1. Pack 40 firing, although now exhausted. And actually gets wiped out there by the Stu. Or possibly the K1. And there you go, the other K1 moving in. Trying here to flank the Stu. And there succeeds nicely. A Panzer IV command tank on the way here. The 7th Panzer is now apparently exhausting whatever armored resources are left available. K1 goes down to the other K1. The Stu pulling back here rapidly, hoping to avoid a very unpleasant fate. And with the Panzer forming into the same sector, it should have a slight chance of surviving due to the damage reduction bonus it receives. The K1 also pulling back, heavily damaged as well. Veteran 2 by the way here, which increases the rate of fire roll but decreasing cooldown, of course also makes it more accurate overall, making that B4 a lot more fun. Using the Panzer IV command tank to quickly clear things up, but at the same time he's actually managed to stall the drain of victory points at a rather opportune time, and there you go, B4 firing. Because I have no idea what to fire, just shoot into space hoping to randomly catch something. Though as obviously it's not necessarily the best tactic, as we've done before. Force moving up here again. Just being caught there, Panzer IV escaping. And then Molotov, as always, proves to be quite nicely in these quarters. Panzer is not doing too well, but there you go, the Panzer IV command tank does make them a bit tougher, but a bit too late. There you go, K1 flanking in. Stu not looking too good there, he actually pulls it a bit too up, goes to the front here to support, which allows my K1 one chance here to flank it. Shot bounces though, but here he makes another mistake because I realise he's not pulling his tanks away far from the front line to repair them. And then I make a bit of a guess here as to where he's going to pull it off to repair it. And I shoot at with a B4. In this case, my guess proved correctly. I mean, you have to be rather careful about where you repair tanks, in particular once your opponent has artillery. Because if you become predictable, then that's what happens. He just lost all of his pioneers and his Duke there to a well-directed shot from the B4. Now it's down to 2 Panzer squads and 2 Canadian squads. And good lord, 43 kills. He's definitely done quite alright with those. That's for sure. Though taking up position in this building might prove to be a bit of a dangerous idea, and they realise that rather rapidly.
Standing by. Ready for orders and loaded for Panzers. Panzer IV.
But Mackie once more his forces whittled down, continuing to fight onwards though for the glory of Germany.
We must stiffen our resolve. We are down to 75 points. Panzer here.
B4 shifting again, hoping to catch some more troops. This time around here. And catching the entire Panzer Gunnery squad. I mean, as soon as it reaches Veteran 2, it does become a lot more effective. And a lot more likely to kill some troops swinging here, but again, getting hit there by the K1. Panzer IV command tank doing what it can here to bombard the Russian infantry. High explosive rounds. Punish the Kommunisten. Panzer's there, hoping to flank. Doesn't quite hit though. Fresh pioneers arriving. More rockets going off. K1 for some reason exposing the rear edge to the command tank. Not good job there, Boris. Not a good job. And there got another B4 shot, this time wiping out the Grenadier squad. Not his most elite one, but still heavy loss there with another veteran of the Grenadier squad with a light machine gun gone. In the blink of an eye, the B4 just basically increasing the casualties massively now. And in fact, very close to Veterancy 3.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
K1 almost done there. With a second one arriving.
We are losing a sector.
More heavy armor always helps. Mackie once more floating down. Mine's going down there, hoping to limit movement.
The enemy is attempting to steal our
There's advantage there versus the K1. Other K1 moving up here. Points being fought over. Mackie getting a bit desperate. And another squad there wiped out. You have to be careful about moving around out in the open versus enemy armor. Very careful. In fact, you probably should have retreated right there. There you go, Panthers arriving. Command tank taking a few nasty hits. K1 almost close there to Veteran G2.
Yeah! That's a force standing by.
Another shot there into his base.
We must defend our headquarters.
And Veteran G3 increasing the range.
We have
Apparently
50
not.
points remaining.
Oh well.
Panzer Grenadiers.
So most of the map is now Soviet, and we actually he's getting a regular Panzer IV now. No more Stug, no more Flak Panzer, now it's just Panzer IV. But at the same time, note he's barely got any infantry left. But still fights onwards. Sneak up the Panthers there to get up, there we go. A few close quarters hit there. Veteran 2 though for the K1. Panzer IV command taking getting hit by anti-tank grenades. Destroyed engine even. Country swap that goes down to the Panzer IV command tank. They're stuck in a crater essentially.
What do you need?
Panzer moving out to the him. They are heavily depleted themselves. The conscripts also as well. And there you go, the Panzer IV arrives. And exposes its sides there to the KB1.
I fear we are losing. With 10 points remaining.
Something? That's a force standing by.
And there we go, GG from Mackie.
The enemy is taking our fire.
And looks like he called in some railway artillery of his own, which actually hit the tank. Surprisingly enough. Not sure why I fought the Panzer IV to serve that. I actually thought for some reason I managed to fire my gun there. I just knocked it up though. Well, bit of a nasty fight here. Brutal. And nasty in turn. I mean, he made a bit of a nice comeback there by the mid-game. I was trying to make some mistakes which helped with that, but the problem was essentially throughout the fight to a large extent he kept spreading out too thinly, which gave me a certain advantage in particular fights, in particular with the shock tubers that really allowed me to overpower several spaces at once. It was when he was sort of really coordinated, focusing everything, you know, in a larger formation, that he generally tends to work, and that's also where the Austria generally tends to shine. But for a larger part of the fight, he tended to avoid that. He sort of tried to have everything, which, again, also the way this particular map works isn't really where the Austria is suited towards. So that gave him quite a few headaches, and overall further gave me an advantage in holding the map. Another issue, I think, you know, was essentially then also the commander choice. He went for Festung Arm. I don't think it was really useful. I mean, considering the infantry he had and considering the map layout, I think he should have gone for Jaeger infantry and used the Gewehr 43 upgrades on them. Again, that would have given a bit more of a close quarters edge, or at least something more short to medium. Versus me again on this map would have definitely given him a bit more of an advantage, a bit more of an edge, plus some other things like the light artillery, the Kanonenvogelstrafe, even the ambush, you know, could have been quite helpful on this map. But, you know, he said he went for Festung Armor, which he barely used compared to me, which pretty much used every ability here, every unit, Shock Troopers, Air Recon, Mother Russia, which also gave me a certain edge here and there, and again the K1s, the B4s, the B4 definitely also proving quite well, and again also when I sort of managed to correctly predict how he was doing things, you know, also managed to allow some great hits. I mean, again, always be careful about how you repair your units. That can be something your opponent can be exploiting if you're not careful. But, you know, well played, but again, a few tactical and strategic missed decisions here which ultimately gave me an advantage, whereas his force wasn't really geared for close quarters. I aimed for that much better, and where he sort of spread out, I tried to sort of take advantage of that by sort of isolating the different units and either pushing them away or wiping them out. So, hopefully you enjoyed this match, though. Hopefully you learned some things about the game, about the counter-attack tactics commander. If you did want to subscribe, tell your friends, share with everyone. If not, you know, send in a replay and provide some feedback in the comments. Links on the video description, and if you do send in a replay, you know, do provide a link to the leaderboards where you are. This is ImperialDane saying cheers.